All right, YouTube. This is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Back with another video. We got to talk about these politics the closer we get to January. Now, I don't know if a lot of you guys really follow these politics and follow the news, but a lot of interesting things are being unveiled. Why would Joe Biden okay Zelensky to fire on Russia on his way out the door? They had been saying that they wasn't going to allow Zelensky to use long-range missiles to fire into Russia. But he okayed it on his way out the door because he wants to undermine Trump's ability to create peace. So that's just a tactic to throw a roadblock in the way of Trump's plan for peace. Another thing we have to actually deal with is the media. See, mainstream media, they lost to podcasters, to bloggers. They tried to call conservatives Nazis, call President-elect Hitler. You know what I mean? They tried to fearmonger the people, have them scared. They told you that you were going to be put in chains, in concentration camps, or whatever. But in all reality, they were lying. They were lying, trying to scare people because they feel like the people are dumb. You know what I mean? And they were so hopeful that Kamala Harris would win that they broke all the rules in journalism. They were saying things they knew weren't true. The Joy Reids, the Roland Martins, and all the rest of the shields that Kamala Harris had on her team. In their mind, it was a sure thing that Kamala was going to win, so why not throw everything against the wall and see what sticks? But in the face of a landslide victory, some of them have came to their senses and say, we got to deal with this president. 75 million people in the country voted for him. Think about that. 75 million people voted for Trump. He won the presidency. They got the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court. And in the face of this landslide victory, they still want to say that people voted for racism, misogyny, and we were uninformed voters, and we were in a cult. But in all actuality, we didn't vote for transgendering our children, late-term termination of pregnancy, open borders, tampons in a boys' bathroom. We didn't vote for their anti-Christ, anti-Christian administration. So you got to understand that these people are angry, kicking and screaming, because they want to continue the status quo. They watched the American people suffer. They told you inflation was down, which was a lie. They told you employment was up and unemployment was down, but they were cutting the benefits of American citizens while directing those funds to illegal immigrants. You have American citizens who can't get assistance and benefits that they need because they were being directed to illegal immigrants. They did all this and they lost because the American people said, we don't want this. They tried to use feminism and all kind of other isms to murky the water so you couldn't see. But the people seen the truth and they didn't want to vote for what they were offering. And you had the witches of the View, and you know, their butt hurt. So Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski of Morning Joe read the writing on the wall. How can you go forward in the face of this landslide loss? Their ratings dropped over 50%. CNN is laying people down because the bloggers and the internet is always undefeated. So they tried censorship, demonetizing channels. They did everything they can so that we couldn't get our message out. To this day, on their way out, they're still shadow banning. Like small channels, like mine, it's easy to shadow ban. They can't really shadow ban the big channels because the big channels have enough followers and enough subscribers to where it'll get in the algorithm no matter what because people logging on every day. So with that being said, if you are one of my regular viewers and subscribers, hit the like button and leave a comment because they're shadow banning. They're still trying to censor it all the way to January. And the reason why is because they want to murky the waters, because they still want to try something, because they're scared. What are they so scared of? They tried to make us scared. They tried to make us feel like Trump was our enemy. When in all actuality, Trump wasn't our enemy when every day he was going to the trial of Michael Jackson. He wasn't our enemy when he befriended Mike Tyson. He wasn't our enemy when he was donating money to Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. He wasn't our enemy when he was hanging out with Don King. He wasn't our enemy when he passed the First Step Act to let everybody out from Kwame Kilpatrick to Big Meech. What has the man actually ever did to black people, to hurt black people? They like to bring up the Central Park 5, but those young men pled guilty and was coerced by the police and the DA at that time, who were all Democrats. See, everything that they said about Trump was actually them. And it's being revealed. They're scared of Epstein's list being revealed. They're scared of him investigating the deep state. They're scared of how he's going to come at them traffickers. They are scared. So they tried to scare the people. But the people weren't scared. The people didn't want what the Democrats was offering. So they lost terribly. So the last bastion of resistance is people like Joy Reid and Roland Martin and The View. So today I'm going to do a reaction to The View. And a lot of my subscribers, they can't stand the women of The View. But you got to listen to what they're saying because they have an audience. And why are they so mad about Morning Joe going to Mar-a-Lago? They had to. The View and people like Joy Reid, they're going to go down to the end, race baiting, causing confusion, fear-mongering. But it's not working. So without further ado, we're going to watch this exchange on The View. Listen to their conversation. Listen to how mad they are at Morning Joe. This is for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act, for commentary, educational purposes, and the First Amendment. Let's check this out.
So Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski have spent a long time warning about you-know-who poses a dangerous threat to the future of democracy. So this morning they surprised a lot of viewers when they talked about how they spent the weekend. Take a look.
Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise.
That's an interesting word they use when they say retribution. They use words like retribution and revenge. You know, revenge is usually categorized as a retaliatory act because of a harm or another issue. You can't have revenge unless there was an act that preceded it. Retribution is payback. So what did you guys do to Trump that would make you think he wanted retribution and revenge and he wanted to retaliate? You must feel like you've done something. because the 75 million Americans that voted for him don't feel that way. Let's listen to some more.
To anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on.
Did they tell him when they went to Mar-a-Lago that they still thought he was Hitler, a Nazi, and a fascist? Did they really believe that? Charlemagne, the devil, he was saying the same type of things, but he's changed his tune. Did they really think that Trump was a fascist? Did they really think he was like Hitler? Did they really think that he was going to put black people in concentration camps? Because I remember 4 years of the Trump presidency. And I remember how well the people of Detroit lived under his presidency. Why would he come back and do something different? You know, they spent all the election cycle demonizing him. But now they went to Mar-a-Lago, to his home, for what?
Was to restart communications. For nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
It's the Black Friday sale. Hostinger, AI website builder. Now from only $195 a month.
So is this the approach that is going to work with a gentleman who campaigned on calling the media the enemy of the people?
So I actually think it was the right thing to do, and I've heard a lot of folks on the left coming out.
The media was the enemy of the people. They told the people lies. They distorted the truth, distorted the facts. They made evil seem good and good seem evil. They misled the people at every step of the way. So why wouldn't the media be the enemy of the people? Think about it.
Joe and Mika saying, don't normalize him. Well, 75 million plus American voters normalized Donald Trump by making him President-elect Donald Trump. In this notion that if sort of the resistance who opposes him stayed in their safe bubbles, sat on their hands and just complained about him for 4 years, that would have a bigger impact.
I'm going to stop cutting in, but I like the words they use, resistance. You know what I mean? Like, what are you resisting? Are you resisting the will of the people? What's the resistance? What are you resisting? Didn't you just say 75 million people voted for him in this country? He won the popular vote, the electoral college. So who's resisting? Are you resisting the will of the people? Are you resisting the will of God? Because we say that God is in control of everything. What is the resistance about in a fair election?
Then sitting down, I talked to Mika actually. They met with him for over 90 minutes. They raised very valid concerns. They both see themselves as opinion journalists who want to actually be able to engage the person that they talk about every day, actually be able to raise issues with them when they're concerned. And in the same way that I thought it was right for Joe Biden to meet with him, and that I think it's right for presidents to meet with foreign adversaries to try to find diplomatic relations and ways to bring people together and solve problems, this is absolutely the right thing. I would sit down with Donald Trump. I would interview Donald Trump. And I'll go a step further. I hope good people work for him. We need to stop demonizing people because they supported a man who just became president of the United States. We should hope good people are around him and smart journalists are challenging him.
Well, look, there is a sobering reality, right? Which is that we have, in 2016, I think people voted for the unknown and voted thinking maybe the gravitas of the office was going to change him. It didn't. In 2024, people voted knowing who he was. And nothing that he is doing, as concerning as I find it and disturbing as I find it, should be shocking, because he told us he was going to do these things. Yeah. He was surrounded by the people he's appointing, and he is keeping to his word. And people voted for him knowing that. And so it's hard. It's a sobering truth. It's hard to reconcile that with what we have been doing for the last.
And she has a point, even though it goes against her interests. People voted for Trump, and he said everything he was going to do, and we want to see him do it. We want to see him drain the swamp. We want to see him deport these illegal immigrants. We want to see him go after people who used and weaponized the judicial system against him because they've been using the judicial system against other people. We wanted this. We voting for whatever comes with it. No one is scared except the enemy of the people. We, the people, voted for the conservatives. And we heard everything they said, just like we heard everything you guys are saying. So what's the problem if this is a democracy?
8 years. I will never sit with him. I don't think I'm going to have to. I don't think I'm going to have to make a decision because I don't think I'm ever going to get invited. And listen, the truth of the matter is, as we know around this table, that it is hard to criticize and denounce the abuses of power by Donald Trump when he is president. We have been there before. It means threats. It means death threats. It means retribution against your family. It means crazy things showing up at your house. It means lawsuits.
Look at these lies. They shaking in their boots. They shaking in their boot. They shivering their timbers because lawsuits. You scared of lawsuits? What did you do? Who's coming after your family? Why are you guys so scared and so butthurt that Morning Joe went to Mar-a-Lago? They're the smart ones. You guys said so much with your feminist panel and your dying audience that you can't go. Trump's not going to invite Whoopi Goldberg to Mar-a-Lago. She knows she can't go. She can't even go back to the donut shop or the bakery in Manhattan that she Jussie Smollett. These people, they're protecting themselves because they have a guilty conscience. They are the ones who fear Trump. And they want the people to fear Trump. I ain't did nothing to Trump, and he ain't did nothing to me. So when we look at this and we see these liberals, they're going to be amping their rhetoric all the way to January 6th, drawing attention to things that appeal to their interests. Who's worried about Donald Trump suing them? People are putting Trump's face on shirts, mugs, everything. They're not worried about no copyright. They haven't at it. And Trump don't care. So you got to read between the lines. Let's listen to some more.
All sorts of things. We've done it before, and if we have to do it again, we will do so again. I think there's a lot of people who are probably looking at what Joe and Mika did and find it opportunistic. There are people who change their stripes, or maybe their spots, I should say, today, depending on who is in power and what benefits them. I don't know that that's what they are doing. And to me, it's a to-be-determined situation because right now it's the transition. We don't know what he's going to do as president. We don't know what they're going to do if he commits abuses of power as president. So, you know, everybody has to live with their decision. Everybody has to look at themselves in the mirror. I'm good.
I absolutely think it was the right decision, and I think it's good that they work on MSNBC. I don't want only Fox people going to see them. That was some of the problem here that I think everyone can agree, maybe even people that voted for Trump can agree, that the things they're watching on Fox are wrong. That's the only network that's had to pay billions of dollars because they got it wrong. So I don't want only Fox people sitting down with him. I want everyone. I don't need to know their motivation. I just know you get nowhere in silence. Conversations had to be had. I also don't believe in we don't platform or we don't do these things. I feel like those are very pie in the sky. If you're not having conversations and winning on ideas, you're not moving anywhere. So to me, this is what
the country decided, he's not calling me, but
he's not calling me either, to be clear.
He doesn't know who I am. But if he did, I would absolutely.
That's a good thing.
I would absolutely sit down and always have a conversation because I'm confident enough to sit at a table in contrast and disagree when I disagree. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. You have the conversations or nothing happens.
Learn about crypto and get rewarded as you learn with Coinbase Learning Rewards. We paid out over $1.
Are you talking? Well, okay. Look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now, more than ever. And I think that we have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth.
Sunny Hostin is the biggest hater in media. What's wrong with an hour and a half? She's just a hater because she's not going.
And to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists. But we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta.
She lying. I'm quite sure all of y'all seen when he went to the interview with the three black ladies, the 3 sisters, and how they started with him. See how they twist facts and how they change his words to fit their agenda, as if we can't see it. They haven't learned their lesson in the face of the loss. They're still trying to lie to people like we didn't see the interview. Like we didn't see as soon as Trump sat down, the lady went to cutting into him without even saying hello, just went to trying to humiliate a man that was powerful than her. See, you gotta be ready when you come for the king. When you come for a king, you can't miss. When you come for somebody that is powerful and you miss, why be scared about it? It's because she's twisting the facts right now. We seen that interview.
Press credentials for asking him a question. And so I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted. This is an aberration.
But the reality is he does.
How many of y'all out there actually trust Joe Biden? Did y'all trust Joe Biden? You see what happened with trusting Obama. You trusted Obama and he put the LGBT flag over the White House. You trusted him and his whole agenda was same-gender marriages. He didn't do anything for the people that trusted in him. You think we forgot? We forgot those 8 years of nothingness?
Doesn't just have Fox News. He didn't do a lot of mainstream media this election, but he went on Joe Rogan and reached 50 million people. Yeah. None of us could talk to Donald Trump again. No mainstream legacy media could, and he's still going to reach the vast majority of this country. So I actually think extremely highly of both Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. I don't think this is opportunistic. I don't think that this is a judgment on their character. I think they recognize 75 million people voted for this guy. He will be in power short of something, an impeachment for the next 4 years. So where can we make some changes on the margin? My first day, if I could say real quick,
okay.
My first day in the Trump White House working for Pence was the day of the Las Vegas shooting. Donald Trump worked with Congress to ban bump stocks. The Supreme Court later overturned it. One small thing like that could save lives. I'm not going to say I don't want to change anything if I have to acknowledge that this person exists and speak to him. I'd like to have marginal change.
I'm going to wait and see what I'm dealing with. As I've said since the election, because I don't know. I see some things that seem strange to me, but now they're starting to seem strange to other people too. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to have some popcorn. And when I have something to say, I will say it. And we'll go from there, because to predict what we're going to do is impossible to do until we know what we're going to do. So I'm just going to sit, and, you know, I don't say everybody should do that, but I want to see what we're up against first. I want to see what's going to happen, because I believe that there's enough of a mix in both Senate and Congress and all these folks that some things that we have great fear of may not happen, and some things we haven't thought about may be looming in the future. So I just want to be clear-eyed and watch it come at me with my popcorn, without the
Whoopi trying to save her butt because I'm quite sure she wouldn't even speak his name, and she was calling him a fascist. But the whole point of this video, and I know like my subscribers, they be hating when the view pops up, but you got to see that they're not going to stop with the misinformation. They're not going to stop trying to fearmonger, because they are scared. They are scared. Because if you spent all the election cycle demonizing the man, defaming his supporters, and now he's in power, and you fear retribution, of course, you want to try to paint yourself as a victim and paint the country as a victim, but that's not the case. So I'm going to do more follow-ups on everything that's going on as it leads up to January 6th. If you are one of my regular subscribers, like, share, and subscribe, because they do have the channel shadow ban. Because as I've told you before, it's hard for them to shadow ban a large channel, but a smaller channel, they can do it. So this is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Support the nonprofit Detroit's Black Thought and Action Collective. The Cash App is in the channel description. As always, salute to all patriots. Keep your head on the swivel. Peace. Like, share, and subscribe.